Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. So quickly, to show you what I'm going to eat tonight. So I have here 1300 calories of food. I have 270 grams of carbohydrates. I have white potatoes, sweet corn, broccoli, rice with turmeric and sultanas mixed in to give it a nice sugary texture. So today's topic, don't listen to Durianrider because he isn't a doctor. So I've seen a lot of hate for Durianrider on the internet. A lot of people in YouTube comments, they try and say, "You're not a doctor. You can't give us advice." And I hear people, slag him off all the time. And just to cut the story short, I trust Durianrider over 99.99% of doctors out there, and you should too. Durianrider has more knowledge than the average doctor, and I don't say that lightly. He literally does. And I'm going to read to you today from two different books and just give you an idea of just how little training doctors get. Most of us, we think that doctors are almost these sort of how can I put it? Almost these repositories of knowledge. These demigods. They're these perfect individuals in society, and they're perfect in every way, shape, and form. And it can't be any further from the truth. Doctors, the way they're trained is this. They're trained, one, how to identify the illness, disease, or condition. No problems with that. And then they're two, trained to work out which surgery will sweep that under the carpet or which pill will sweep that under the carpet. Doctors today generally have no training whatsoever in the relationship between nutrition and disease. They don't. If they did, then why isn't it the doctors aren't saying to their patients, you need to eat a vegan diet? You need to eat a high carb, whole food, plant-based diet. Why is it that as soon as they get patients come in, they're throwing pills at them? They're trying to pump them full of drugs. When I went into the hospital as a type 1 diabetic, I was diagnosed there. No one turned around to me and said, "Listen, you're not going to reverse your type 1 diabetes, but you will improve it with a vegan diet." No one told me that I would lower my blood pressure, lose weight, lower my resting heart rate. No doctor ever said to me, you'll greatly reduce your chances of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, atherosclerosis, Alzheimer's, obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, you name it. And the reason why is they have no training. So I'm just going to read to you from a few different books, and just to try and help illustrate this. So the first book I'm going to read to you from is How Not to Die. I don't know how well you can see that. How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. Dr. Greger is probably, I'd say he's probably in the top 10 doctors in the entire world when it comes to health and nutrition. The guy is a genius. A lot of people attack him online. They're full of bro science. He's full of real science. So this is Dr. Greger from his book How Not to Die. So what I thought I'd do is I'll just read a few paragraphs of what he has to say. So the US healthcare system runs on a fee-for-service model in which doctors get paid for the pills and procedures they prescribe, rewarding quantity over quality. We don't get reimbursed for time spent counselling our patients about the benefits of healthy eating. If doctors were instead paid for performance, there would be a financial incentive to treat the lifestyle causes of disease. Until the model of reimbursement changes, I don't expect great changes in medical care or medical education. Only a quarter of medical schools appear to offer a single dedicated course in nutrition. During my first interview for medical school at Cornell University, I remember the interviewer emphatically saying nutrition is superfluous to human health, and he was a pediatrician. I knew I was in for a long road. Come to think of it, I think the only medical professional who ever asked me about a family's member diet was our veterinarian. I was honoured to be accepted by 19 medical schools. I chose Tufts because they boasted the most nutrition training, 21 hours worth, although this was less than 1% of the curriculum. During my medical training, I was offered countless steak dinners and fancy perks by Big Pharma representatives, but not once did I get a call from Big Broccoli. There is a reason you hear about the latest drugs on television. Huge corporate budgets drive their promotion. The same reason you'll probably never see a commercial for sweet potatoes is the same is the same reason breakthroughs on the power of foods to affect your health and longevity may never make it to the public. There's little profit motive. In medical school, even with our paltry 21 hours of nutrition training, there was no mention of using diet to treat chronic disease, let alone reverse it. I was only aware of this body of work because my family's personal story. So that's just a small snippet from How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. So a bit of backstory about him. So his nana was actually gravely ill when he was a little boy, and one of the early sort of pioneers of plant-based diets back in the 60s treated his nana, and within a few weeks she was doing 10 miles a day. She was healthy, and that really opened Dr. Greger's eyes to the power of plant-based diet. Excuse me. And yeah, so that's basically that's the only probably reason why Dr. Greger's where he is now, is because he had his nana who he loved very much, who was dying, and a doctor who actually knew what he was talking about came along and saved her. Without that experience, he might not be the man he is today. So because of that experience, he went into medical school knowing what to look out for. He said there he went with the college which had the most amount of nutrition training, and that only had 21 hours. So that's a good example, guys, of just how bad doctors have it in terms of training. The incentives aren't there for them to be trained how to address the causes, because you can't make money off someone that's healthy. You can't. They have an incentive to keep people alive because they can't make money off dead people. But they can make money off sick people, and if that sick person becomes healthy, they can't make money off them anymore. I know that sounds really horrible. It sounds kind of brutal or pessimistic or a horrible way to look at the world, but that's the way it works. The system is designed for doctors to keep patients sick so they can make money, whether they intentionally or unintentionally are aware of that. So I hope that one was quite useful, and what I'll do is I'll just get Proteinaholic by Dr. Garth Davis, and we'll just have a quick flick through this. So Dr. Garth Davis, he had a much different story. Dr. Garth Davis, he was fat, sick and dying. You read his book, Proteinaholic, and you can see he was actually very ill. It was that bad, he got to the stage he had build-up of cholesterol in his eyeballs. How insane is that? And he actually came across the Blue Zones by Dan Buettner, and he started reading about these healthy Okinawans who get to 100 eating sweet potatoes, and that really sort of something clicked, changed in his mind, and that began his journey. And I'd say Dr. Greger right now is in the top 10 doctors in the world in terms of plant-based and vegan medicine, or the diet, should I say. I wasn't really aware of him until about a year ago, until I saw him on Fully Raw Christina's video, and ever since then I've noticed his social media has been building up. He has a lot of really good posts, so go follow him on Facebook. And he's a bariatric surgeon down in Texas, and now instead of resorting straight to drugs or treatment for his surgery for his patients, he addresses their lifestyle. His hospital used to have like a Wendy's inside of it. Where he works now, they don't have any of that. Instead, they focus on the patients. So I'll just read you a small snippet from his book, if I can find it. So it says, and I began to question everything I'd been taught about the human body in medical school. We were given the idea that disease is pretty much inevitable. Humans just seem to be destined to get some kind of chronic disorder, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, maybe Alzheimer's. Not much you could do to prevent it. Basically, all you could do was medicate it. If your medications had side effects, you treated those with still more medications. And there was just a brief snippet of his book, and he does go into it a bit more. So I recommend you get that Proteinaholic by Dr. Garth Davis. So coming back to the main point of the video, I trust Durianrider over 99.99% of doctors out there, and the reason why is because 99.99% of doctors out there are not trained in any way, shape or form to address chronic disease. They are trained to identify the illness or disease and then allocate a treatment to that, whether it be a pill or surgery. They are not trained to identify conditions being caused by food, and they are not trained to get people to change their diets. In other words, doctors are trained to sweep symptoms under the carpet while ignoring the cause. Like I said, if without Durianrider and Forks Over Knives, I would not be vegan right now. Durianrider, I would probably say, has done more for the vegan movement than anyone else on social media. I think that's quite a big statement to make, because he just doesn't cover the food aspect of it, but covers cycling, running, health, mindset, and it's just not that he gives people options within the vegan within the the vegan lifestyle, what you can and can't eat, or tells you how to have a backup plan and things like that. So I just sort of wanted to do a quick video there about some of the haters who say Durianrider isn't qualified because he's not a doctor. That means nothing. I know it sounds arrogant to say, but I would say I probably know more practical knowledge than the average doctor in terms of understanding how most disease is caused by food and how most of it is addressed by food. So yeah, I hope that was useful. Like I said, check out Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Garth Davis. I'll leave links to their things below. Also check out Dr. John McDougall, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Professor T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Neil Bernard, Dr. Joel Kahn, Dr. Joel Furman. All these plant-based doctors, they're in the some of the top people in the world. They don't need to pump all of their patients full of drugs and surgery. They identify the cause, they address the cause. They don't ignore the cause just so that they can get rich by giving people treatment they don't need, and which in the long run doesn't work. So I hope that was useful. Until next time, God bless. Please leave your comments and questions below. Give me ideas of what you would like to see from me. Would you like more videos? To the haters out there, listen to Durianrider. He is right 99% of the time, if not more. He knows what he's on about. Put aside, any preconceived notions you have. Put to one side whatever you think, and just listen to what he says about, health and nutrition. Because at the end of the day, he has a lot of experience. He has a lot to offer you if you just listen to him. Bye now. Guys, Chris here, back with a quick video. So today's video I'm going to talk about my thoughts on fully raw diets. Straight off I'm just going to say don't believe you have to do them. So what is a fully raw diet? So a fully raw diet, texture. So today's topic, don't listen to Durianrider because he isn't a doctor. So I've seen a lot of hate for Durianrider on the internet. A lot of people in YouTube comments, they try and say, you're not a doctor, you can't give us advice. And I hear people slag him off all the time, and they're perfect in every way, shape and form, and it can't be any further from the truth. Doctors, the way they're trained is this. They're trained, one, how to identify the illness, disease or condition, no problems with that, and then they're two, trained to work out which today from two different books, and just give you an idea of just how little training doctors get. Most of us, we think that doctors are almost these sort of how can I put it, almost these repositories of knowledge, these demigods. They're these perfect individuals in society. And just to cut the story short, I trust Durianrider over 99.99% of doctors out there, and you should too. Durianrider has more knowledge than the average doctor, and I don't say that lightly. He literally does. And I'm going to read to you. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. So quickly, to show you what I'm going to eat tonight. So I have here 1300 calories of food. I have 270 grams of carbohydrates. I have white potatoes, sweet corn, broccoli, rice with turmeric and sultanas mixed in to give it a nice sugary